Good evening. I'd like to tell you about an exceptional young man that I am privileged to call son. Isaac is a great kid. He is fun, he is loving, he's extremely generous. If you came to our home, you were leaving with a gift. And he is always the life of the party. That is how I see him. This is how the authorities see him. Isaac has been arrested as a juvenile and an adult for a variety of reasons, including check and credit card fraud, stealing, car theft, and domestic abuse. He was a happy baby, and we were beyond thrilled to be his parents. However, we began to see signs of concerning behavior at around 9 months. Things like overreaction to frustration, sensitivity to environment, and destructive major meltdowns. But Isaac also has the ability to see things that others may not, like the woman at the food court who needs a chair, or buying groceries after seeing a homeless teen because it broke his heart, or giving his 9th birthday gifts to kids in need. Even though he's very intelligent, school was always a challenge for him. He went to private, public, and was homeschooled. He saw at least one new specialist each year, different doctors, therapies, brain scans, and blood work, all in the hopes of finding something to help him succeed. Yet the same extreme anger, anxiety, defiance, or intense sadness remained. He was 10 when we found a noose hung from his bunk bed. Feeling like we had no other option, when he was 14, we chose to sell our home to send him to a therapeutic boys' home. It was our last hope. We were not allowed to speak to him for 6 months. This nearly broke me. The home had 7 different levels that each boy had to reach in order to graduate. Most finished in under 18 months. At 12 months, they invented a half level for Isaac because he still wasn't connecting the dots. We had run out of funds, and he was coming home. In some ways, it was wonderful. He got a job, he went back to school, his little brother loved having him home. But the principal called us on day 2, and within a month, he had stolen money from the baseball team. Then he started doing this to his room, including punching holes in the wall. He had been stealing cash from us for years, but now he began taking our credit cards and our vehicles. We had to start locking our things in the safe. Then he figured out how to break into that too. The first time I called the police was when he was 16, and he tried choking me out because we got in an argument about how I was preparing dinner. He would run away often and come back at night to steal from us and the neighbors. He came home one night acting like it was a regular evening. Knowing we had to stop this pattern, my husband Mike pulls him to the ground and lays on him to hold him down. Isaac, realizing that the police are on the way, takes a rock the size of a softball and hits his dad repeatedly in the head. He was in and out of juvenile detention centers. Like I said, he's very smart, and he would figure out the best way to get kicked out. He'd be there for a few days, and they would call us to say that we had to come pick him up. Where does a parent turn when the system says that there's no place for him? I don't know what's happening in your life, what hell you are currently facing. What I do know is that getting stuck in the why is poison. Asking questions like, why is this happening to me? This isn't fair. It's not productive or helpful. I know this because I have been stuck here many times. I just want to be a good mom. Why can't I help him? Why was he born this way? I didn't sign up for this, and this definitely is not how I planned it. Instead, we need to ask, what can I do next? How can I make that happen? And who will walk this road with me? For me, the what is not owning Isaac's choices. We have given him the resources he needs, and his actions are his and his alone. Even when he chooses to be homeless, or in prison, he's beaten black and blue and he's been stabbed, or it's where he gets to meet his newborn son, or he's covered in prison tattoos, including a few on his face. The how is determining your next step, even if it's a baby step, moving forward and replacing victim thinking with truth. Sometimes it's just taking your next breath. Even that can be a victory. The who is my community, my people, those who love me enough to endure this with me. Thankfully, excuse me. Sorry. Can you pause? Pause. Thankfully, my husband is one of my who's, but I also have a group of women who have sat in courtrooms, who have prayed thousands of prayers, and have eaten a lot of chocolate with me over the years. I have some thoughts on criminal justice reform, but Isaac just needs to obey the law. He's currently out of prison, and I can tell you about 40% of his choices are healthy, but his story isn't over yet. And I can promise you that his mama is going to love him 100% of the time and will never give up on him.